with Rex. Kissing them, throwing them back.
Oh, thank you, Mother, for the rabbit. Oh, unbelievable, folks.
With Rex. Fishing, kissing them, throwing them back.
Rexy boy has done it again. G'day, folks. Welcome to Rex Hunt Fishing Adventures, the best of Volume 5. Now, we go to Marion Bay in South Australia and catch some flathead, and it's a lot of fun with my friend Ian Pochran. We then travel to the central coast of New South Wales to meet up with Laurie McAnally. Now, he's got a charter boat called Splashdown, and we chase a beautiful fish called the dolphin fish. Now, on the south coast of Queensland, there's some great beach fishing. So Bushy and I check out the local scene and catch some dart and tailor. It's going to be a lot of fun, folks. So fasten your seatbelt and let's go fishing.
With Rex. Gone fishing. Kissing them, throwing them back. With Rex. Gone fishing. Kissing them, throwing them back.
Well, folks, today we are in some pretty special country. First of all, I'm with a familiar face on Rex Hunt Fishing Adventures, our resident chef,
Thank you.
Ian Pochran. We've finally got you on a trip, son.
Rex, thanks for this, but what about this water we're fishing?
Well, it's very, very deep. It's 44 or 45 metres deep. Now, in the old scale, that is a lot of feet. I tell you what, I hope you got enough line on your spool.
Well, look at the size. Look, 5-ounce sinkers and 6-foot traces. I mean, it's unbelievable what we're doing here today.
Well, they actually call it Investigator Strait, and I think we're here to investigate the possibility of some big whiting. Over there, the York Peninsula of southern Australia, which is part of the South Australian Gulf system, which is the home of King George whiting. But out here, apparently, if Rexy boy wants to get a kilo whiting, this is the place.
Have you ever caught a kilo whiting?
No, but I'm just about to. And you idiot, Ian, let's fish.
Right.
There we go. Oh, Ian.
What's happened, Rex?
Well, we're going to just see how good this little quiver tip line is.
I tell you what, the varnish on the rod's cracking. My God, that's a whiting.
I'm here to give it a real go, this little quiver tip, folks. I tell you what, we're going to be here for quite some time, because 140-something feet has got to, well, come between me and the whiting. But look, being quite serious, a lot of people think that this is an underkill. I reckon minimum 6 kilo gear here, but still, with 3 kilo stuff, if you take your time, well, you're going to be in with a show. I tell you what, by the feel of my arm, I'm going to have to give that a bit of a rest. It's the first time I've had to change arms in years, Ian. Look at that.
Would you like a cup of tea, Rex?
No, I tell you what, I'll get one in a minute. Don't worry about that. Isn't this just fantastic? Lifting and winding.
Now, Rex, these are not normal school fish, are they? You can liken them to grumpy old men, don't you reckon?
Well, you can.
Look at the size of this.
Look at the size of that. Gee whiz. That is a serious King George whiting, isn't it? An absolutely serious King George whiting. But when you come to think of it,
wow,
I don't reckon he's a kilo.
No, he's what, 800 grams?
Oh, I don't know, but I tell you what, beautiful big lips. But still, we did something that they reckon we couldn't do here. They reckon the old bearded burbler with his Victorian sort of fishing gear couldn't do it.
There's the goods.
Fantastic, folks. Not throwing this one back, folks, because this is real good eating material.
I think we'll give that one a little bit of a fry tonight.
We will fry at 0300 hours.
Fry by points. Rex, this is another whiting, and look at this. It wants to get back to the bottom. It's got that typical burrowing that they do. And I tell you what, this little rod, it is cracking under the strain, but we've got 6-pound line, and we're still doing it again. It's going to take a while. But gee, they're a beautiful fish, Rex. We're not used to this quality fishing, are we, in Victoria? Not this size. I mean, they are just superb. Here he comes. Look at that. Well, that's a good sized fish for Victoria. It's not a thumper for here, but we'd be very happy with that at home, Rex.
Now, what I'm doing here now, Brendan will take a shot of that because if you actually open up the bail and if you don't feather it or put it down under some pressure, you'll find that with a 2-hook rig that it will tangle all over the top of the main line. And that is the problem with a lot of people who cast out. Their lure or their line tangles and you're not fishing properly. So if you're going to have a go, it's worthwhile taking a few extra minutes to make sure you've got the best shot possible. Also, in a little bit of an open ocean like this, folks, you're going to get a swell. No matter what the conditions, you're always going to get a swell, so it pays to sort of just go down with the boat and then come up with it, so your bait and rig is on the bottom at all stages. And then when you get a bite, you can sort of... We don't get this down with
we don't.
With the rubber twins down at Portsea, do we?
No,
I tell you what.
Mate. These are good fish, aren't they?
These are very, very good whiting. These are very, very good whiting. This could be what?
This could be our this could be our lucky day. We might get a fish around a kilo today.
Oh well, who
Yeah,
cares?
cares?
They're just beautiful
Exactly.
size fish, aren't they?
Oh,
And I just feel privileged to be able to.
can you believe we're pulling these out of 120 feet of water?
There's yours. I tell you what, it's a nice looking whiting, but I don't think it's too. I tell you
don't
what,
know.
Ian.
What about that?
Come and declare it, Ian. What do you think?
I think it might be a kilo. What do you reckon, boys? No,
No,
sorry.
we're not giving it a kilo. 850. We'll see what this is. This could be 850. Well, I hope it's 851. How'd you like a bloke with a head like that beating you, folks? I tell you what, Ian.
Tell you what.
tell you
Oh,
what,
look
they
at
are
this.
big King
They
George.
are- Look at the
They
size.
are-
of
look at
these.
These are big King George
I
whiting.
have never seen anything like
But I
this.
tell you what, I've never seen anything like it. Now you can know how big a 2-pound whiting is, because they reckon that that's not a kilo. Well, sorry about the water on the lens there, folks, but I tell you what, another kisser, because the old Aggie pipe in there is going to cook for us tonight. I tell you what, we're going to cook up a storm.
Fabulous.
They are big fish, but you can see how people can be lured in to the false sense of security by saying you'd actually declare that 2-pound.
You would.
But
Yeah.
we've got the Measure Brothers here, and they reckon it's not. Thank you very much. We're still going to try. We're still the old
Well,
King
the old
George
King
whiting
George twins.
But I tell you what, we're having a great time.
Are we what?
My lunch is starting to let me know that things are very nice. Thank you. South Australia is the home of King George whiting, and South Australia is the home of slimy mackerel. Have a look at this. I tell you what, folks, one thing I've always wondered, why do they call them slimy mackerel? Look at this, Ian.
Look at this, Rex.
And another King George whiting. Well, I tell you what, folks, have a look at that. The best eating fish in the sea, I'll give him 750 grams.
Fabulous.
The best live bait in the sea, and a lot of our people from Greece and Italy will go to the markets of Victoria to sort of size out these. So here you are, folks. Here's one you're not going to get. Thank you very much. There. It's actually ruined me and you for Portsea.
It has, completely.
Melbourne's Port Phillip Bay, where we might get one of those every 3 or 4 years, folks. I tell you what, if you love King George whiting like we do, any restaurant that you go into in Australia, they will have South Australian whiting. There is no doubt about it. I tell you what, it is a nightmare for my cameraman Brendan to be going up and down, but this is what I've got to do. I've got to go up and then down with the swell, or down with the way the fish pulls it. Now when the line is fully loaded up, we'll get a little bit of drag going, but at the moment this light line is doing okay because there's plenty of stretch in it. And that's one of the advantages, is when you get a big fish on, you've got stretchy line. When you've got that other spider wire on, well, you've got to hope that everything's sort of okay. Now, do you like that?
Oh,
They're not quite 2 pound.
no, they're not.
However, I tell you what, I'll just, excuse me for a minute, folks, because I've got to get down here and get this bloke. Because, Ian, I reckon a couple of slabs of this fish,
Do you reckon you could eat a whole fish?
mate, I could eat half a dozen of these. That's the good news. The bad news?
I've got to cook the fish.
Exactly, I'm hungry.
Wahoo wins.
Rex.
Come fishing. Kiss it up. Go earn 'em back.
It's quite cool here today, but I've broken out in a sweat for a couple of reasons. This little rod is really working overtime. That's fully loaded, that little rod. And I've got no worries at all of it breaking, because These little rods are designed to really take some rough treatment. It's the angler who breaks the rod, not the fish. And I've got just enough drag on the front of that reel so that when the rod is fully loaded up and the line is fully spent to its breaking strain, which is just over 3 kilo, well, that's what angling is all about. And we must be very, very close to start. Look at this, it's a big trevally.
Look at that.
A beautiful big trevally. Now that is a serious fish, and behind it is a, well, he's gone now anyhow, but you had a look at him. And folks, what a fight. I tell you what, do these yakkers really put up a fight in South Australia? They talk about the South Australian whiting. What about these mighty midgets? Only trevally, is it, or what? Trevally? Whiting. Look at the size of this bastard, Ian.
Oh no! That's a kilo. Look at the size of that.
Look at the size of that, folks. I tell you what, the 4 whiting I got to worry about the other day would actually fit into this fish. Now that, can we just say that that is a genuine kilo fish?
Yes.
Yes.
May I die in peace. Absolutely fantastic. Folks, South Australia. Why do they call them South Australian whiting?
Rex. Gone fishing. Kissing up, throwing them back.
Well, I tell you what, mate, they call it the Gold Coast. It's the Golden Sun Coast, as far as I'm concerned. Isn't it magnificent?
Isn't it ever?
And
Wish
look
every
at
day
this.
was like this.
Hey, look at this. Still in the
pets.
condition it was 30 years ago. Well, folks, today I'm on the Gold Coast of South Queensland, and over there, Surfers Paradise. Now, this is a very heavy development, and Peter Pakula, well, he calls this home. You never get sick of it, do you?
Never, never, ever. No matter how much I travel, all I want to do is be here.
And all you want to do is go fishing with Rexy.
Absolutely.
Let's do it, folks, and see what he's got in store. Hope these fish can see our lures. It doesn't look as if it's going to be a problem.
Nah. They find them.
Yeah. Some beautiful houses around here. It's a lovely environment.
Oh, it's it is.
Yeah, I like the look of your palm trees.
Hey, Rex, I think I got one, mate.
Have you?
I think I do. Yep, I got one. See, it doesn't feel like a real monster, and I promise you a monster. Hey?
Doesn't really matter.
Oh, it's a good one. I think it'll be all right. I don't think it knew what it bit when it bit this lure, eh, Rex?
I'll get this one
Look
out
at
of your road.
Okay, look at the size of
I
this.
tell you what, it's not a bad flathead.
Not a bad flathead, but look at the size of it compared to the lure. Look at the hooks in it too. Oh my God, this is going to be messy.
Hang on, no, it'll be all right. Nice fish.
It is, isn't
I
it?
tell you what, a beautiful female dusky flathead. Could you have used a bigger lure, Pakula?
Well, we're after big fish, Rex. People really underestimate the ferocity of a flathead. I mean, they really are quite violent fish.
She's got a bit of a sea lice on her there.
Yeah.
Now, okay, run through what you do with tagging and releasing these magnificent fish.
These are our breeding stock, Rex. You know, without these fish, if you kill these fish, you kill the whole system.
Yeah.
You know, it's really important that we let these fish go. They don't like being caught.
Well, you don't blame them.
And we actually use chemically sharpened hooks. Rather than try and disturb the fish, we just break the points.
Oh, that's a good idea. They slip straight out.
Yeah. You know, they're not barbless when we use them, but if we turn them into barbless, then they're just a lot easier to get out.
It's a bloke doing a bit of high-speed trolling from SeaWorld. Good on you, mate. How could you go up in a helicopter when we can have fun like this? See you later, mate. I think he's trolling a bit quick there. Okay.
Finally got the hooks out here.
Now,
These
that's
things
a
have got
serious lure, mate.
Isn't it ever?
They say big fish, big bait, but this is ridiculous.
It's 60 centimetres.
Oh.
Put
60
a tag,
centimetres?
60 centimetres. Take a scale out,
Yeah.
put the tag in. And
Do
then
you
we've got
actually
a bit-
catch a few every now and again with a tag?
I personally never have, but a lot of the fish that I've caught have been recaptured.
Fair dinkum. So, a beautiful female, dusky flathead. As Peter says, these are the lifeblood of an estuarine system. A little bit of a peck for good luck later on.
At least you know you're kissing a girl that one.
Exactly, well, that's right. And we'll just let her go and have a look at that. That's gone.
Now, Rex, I promised you a big one. That's a good one, but we still got to get you a big one. The tide's rising. How about we try fly fishing the flats? Because the rising tide, the fish get on the flats. Maybe we'll get that big one there, eh?
Well, that's not a bad start, but I don't think I've got a fly that big. That fly's not big enough.
These flathead will take small things too.
That fly's not big enough.
We'll
But
find
still,
one that is.
You promised a big one. That's 2 kilos. Can we do any better?
We can try.
The tip sounder says there's a few more fish here. I reckon we're going to have a great day. This is paradise, folks. It's not a bad start. Well, folks, it's time to replace heavy metal with a little bit of fur and feather. Now, these flats of these magnificent estuarine systems of the eastern seaboard of Australia, oh, gee whiz, I don't know what that was. I think it was some sort of a flathead. But this is the home of flathead, and while they're not here in their 10s or even 2s or 3s, this is the home of some very, very big flathead as we know it in eastern Australia. Now, the ground here is very suitable for feeding fish. All these holes are made from a bash yabby or a nipper, as a lot of people would understand it. But when you're fishing these shallow flats with flies, I tell you what, it's always worth an hour or two of casting because it's very relaxing with a good mate and a little bit of a chin wag. The most important thing is, it's a good way to really understand about fly fishing. It's a good long cast. Folks, here, I've just let my fly sink down a little bit. Here we've got a very shallow bank going across the other side, and there's quite a drop-off. Plenty of yabby holes. Pete, the place for a big flathead, I reckon. Tell you what, puff of sand there.
Holy hell.
Oh, if you don't mind. Gee, did he nail that? Oh,
When you got him on,
he
that's a
doesn't
good
feel
fish.
that. No. Oh, do you reckon? He
I
doesn't.
reckon that. You see the puff of sand?
Yeah, I did. I tell you what.
I think it's playing with you, Rex.
You think he is?
Yeah. Could be a sulker. There it goes.
Oh. Hey, have a look at the size of him.
Holy hell.
Oh, holy mackerel. Are there any questions? Are there any questions?
Oh, he's on the other side of that bank. I'll go get him.
Well, you won't need the net. He's beached himself. Uh-oh.
Yeah, you think.
Yeah. Oh. Come here.
Oh, man, have I been waiting for this one.
He's doggo a little bit. He must have been winterising in here, mate. I tell you what,
Oh,
he doesn't
yeah.
know what's going on
Mate, he'll
at
know.
all.
Well,
Look at him. Oh.
Mate, it's a bit gentle with a fly. You know, they're used to a bit more ruggedness than that. Have a look at it.
What a magnificent fish. You can't net him there, mate.
I can.
Oh, no.
Mate, have a look at this. Have a look at this one. I told you they'd live here. Hey? Mate, I told you they'd live here. Have a look at...
Oh.
Yeah, now he's starting to wake up.
I
mean,
tell you what.
she...
I reckon in the summertime we would have been very, very lucky to actually get that fish.
Mate, that
We
fish
caught
doesn't
him-
know it's
We
hooked
caught him
yet.
a bit doggo.
He doesn't even know it's hooked yet. Let's just...
No, he doesn't. You want
Let's-
to lay him up here?
Yeah, I'll just get everything ready. We'll tag this one. Do all the right
Folks,
things.
this is a serious flathead, so we'll just keep him into the tide there. Mate, I'm not a great judge in the water, but if he's not 10 pound in the old scale, 5 or 6 kilo, I tell you what, and have a look at his waft, that big clouser minnow. For you fly fishermen back there, having a look, that's an enlarged clouser minnow with a set of lead eyes. Harry can see it clearly through his lens there in that net. And for those interested, I'm using a 9-weight sage and a number 8 fin or reel with a sinking tip line. So that's what we're doing here. Now, that fish, you can see there how you would actually walk in the shallows and not be able to see that fish. If you didn't know there was a flathead in there, now all right mate, or it's no good going now, we're glad you didn't, because I don't reckon we would have seen you on our show. Okay, we ready just about to bring him in?
Just about. Just get a pair of pliers.
You just want to make sure that this fish is going to be okay.
You know, Rex, I reckon these are estuary granders. People talk about 1,000-pound marlin.
Yeah.
Mate, every centimetre's 100 pounds compared to this.
Now, there's a lot of folk watching who are interested in conservation. Why do we make such a fuss of putting these beautiful big fish back?
Oh, look at the hookup. Wow. We have to, Rex. This is a breeder. You know, if we let this thing go and it breeds this year, there's a couple of thousand more flathead for the whole system.
Is it really?
And if we kill it, that's a couple of thousand less.
Gee, look at it, isn't she? Beautiful
she's been
condition.
through the wars.
Hasn't she been through the wars? She'd be an old fish, do you think?
Oh, yeah. And all rode up. Now
and there is the tag. Now, if someone actually catches a flathead with a tag, what do, Pete?
They call up the local club, or should be a phone number on that tag.
Yeah.
For example, I catch a number of these a year, and a number of them get recaptured.
Yeah.
If you recapture a flathead, you don't have to kill it.
Yeah.
Just get the information where you caught it.
And you send this away to the Queensland Fisheries. Now, that's a serious fish. You better tell us about it.
85 centimetres.
Now, if you had to make a judgment on the weight in kilos, what would you say?
Oh, I'd say this one's about 5.5, 6. Fully rode up. After it rode, probably 4.5, 5 kilos.
Gee whiz.
Starting to realise something's wrong now.
Yeah, for sure. Why would you want to kill a fish like that? You see, as Peter explained, kids, 2,000 flathead could come from this female alone. And she's just getting her breath. And I tell you what, I've been all over the world. There's not much better than that.
Not wrong. Stay with...
Just needs to point her in the direction and she's home, mate.
Over you go. There she goes.
Have a look at that.
Hey?
I think she just likes being here, and away she goes.
Look at that. Look how well it blends in.
You know, now I know how those people that sort of rescue the dolphins and the whales feel. Have a look at that. See you later, girl.
Rex. Gone fishing. Kissing up, throwing them back.
G'day folks, thanks for joining us again in the wonderful world of fishing. This is the Mersey River on the north coast of Tasmania across Bass Strait from the mainland of Australia. And this area, quite seriously, is recognised as one of the jewels in the crown of Australian trout fishing. Now the human moustache is downstream Kay Bush getting the fly rods ready. I've got this little spinning outfit that I'm going to give a run. And folks, by the look of the conditions and the amount of insects that are hatching, we're in for a mighty good time. Stick around. Let's do some fishing together. Serious looking river, Bushman.
That's absolutely beautiful.
Have a look at that little fantail going up there on the fern.
Did you make that rise over there? Is that a bit of a rise in behind that tree? Something coming out of there.
There's enough insect activity. What do you reckon these things darting about are?
Well, some of them are caddis, little snowflake caddis. This is magic. I reckon that was a rise in there.
Behind there?
And behind that little bush, in that calm patch of blackish water, there was definitely a ripple came out of there.
Yeah.
It's just behind that bit of a twig. He's got it. Oh, had a shot at it.
He had a shot at it, didn't he?
Came up and
no
rose
doubt
at
about
it. He didn't take it, you're right, but he just came up and looked at it. He's there though.
I'll give you another look at it and bring it in across there.
Mightn't have been a really big fish, but he came up and tried to pull it under. That's it. That'll get him. That'll get him. Come on, fish. Come on.
That's what it's all about, folks. You get a little bit of a go and all of a sudden the fish beat you.
That's going to get it. That's perfect. Come on. Perfect. Come on, fish. Good, good. That was right on his head. That was a lovely cast. Yes, Rexy. Woo, got the line out
Did
of
you
it.
see? I tell you what. Kenny Orr said, he said, when they take them here, boy, he said they'll take them. They're only little fish, but I tell you what. And Bushy, I suppose, you know, we talk about the rules of fishing, using the right gear and the right bait and all that sort of stuff. And there's no different in here, is there, really?
No, he's taken the little nymph off that dropper.
This is a beautiful little rainbow. And this little number 4 weight sage, I tell you what, absolutely perfect. But I might just sort of stop him splashing around for a minute. He actually rose for the dry, and I've missed him with the dry, and I've foul hooked him with the nymph underneath. So for you purists out there, I don't think David Scholes would actually say that this was all right, but that is exactly what's happened. We're fishing a little twin rig of a Royal Wolf type of humpy affair on top, which is the dry fly, and a little dropper with a nymph underneath. He's come up with the dry. I haven't been good enough to take him, Bushy, and I've snagged him with the nymph underneath. So it's a matter of just getting him out, waving a kiss goodbye. You'll take him. It's like a 4 through slips, isn't it, Bushy?
Well, you take the 4 and you take the trout.
Wasn't what you meant, but at least you're still in. And remember when Greg Chappell said, you know, he said he'd made 5 ducks in a row. He said, Rex, I'm not batting that bad. You just keep on getting out. Let's go fishing, big man.
There you go.
Yeah, there's a rise out there.
That's on the money.
It's on the money.
Get ready, Harry.
Now that's not
There's
fair.
no justice.
That's not fair.
There is no justice.
That is not fair. Oh. I tell you what, folks, talk about frustration. The fish are actually jumping out of the air here for small caddis, midges. Bushy even saw a dun, which is part of the mayfly of Tasmania. And these little beauties of the Mersey River, I tell you what, they don't know the script. But I'm sure the guides will agree, folks. This is my office. It's not a bad place for a day's work. What do you reckon, fellas?
Oh, just along that bubble line, Rexy, and it's just not. Yes, grabbed it.
Good boy.
I'll tell you what, some
Good
kicking.
boy.
Yes, that's what we wanted. Come on, fish, come back here. Well, I've got a bit of toe in it for a little creek trout. Come on, fish.
Oh, yeah, he's all right.
Another rocks. Whoa! It's got me going anyway, Rick. Come on.
I think he's a nice little brown.
Is he a brownie?
He's a brownie. Bushy's got... Now, Bushy, you've done the trick again. What happens is,
what?
folks, this dual rig is working beautifully.
Yeah.
We've got the Royal Wolf on the top, which is the dry fly, and then the nymph underneath. And because Bushy in his old age is now sort of in his mid-40s, and he can't he hasn't got any coordination or reflexes,
Very good.
he gets them on the way down.
Gee, they look beautiful with those.
They look beautiful.
spots.
Look at him. He's got that bead-headed nymph in him, Bushy, you absolute piscatorial assassin.
Jagged him absolutely delicately.
I tell you what, a beautiful brown trout.
Aren't they beautifully marked though, to bit of just camouflage into the rocks?
It was spawned in this Mersey River. For you people who are sitting back there who are not even fishermen, here's the human moustache, the broom himself, to let you in on a couple of the secrets of one of the finer arts of the game. And I'm going down to catch your fish.
That'll be
very
right,
much.
sabotage. Well, kids out there and maybe some of the people that aren't so young, fly fishing isn't very scary. A lot of people think it's something that only rich people do, or it's something that's complicated. It isn't really so. All we're trying to do is cast a very light weight, because most of these fish are eating little insects and nymphs that live in the water, like this little dry fly here, and that weighs absolutely nothing. It's very, very small, so we couldn't cast it out with a normal method, just with a monofilament line. So what we're going to do is use this thick line, and when you see us fly fishing, you'll see that heavy line whistling through the air, going backwards and forwards and then landing on the water. It probably looks a bit flash, but all we're really trying to do is get that light weight out there in front of the fish. And it's actually not all that difficult, it's not scary. All we're really doing is we're pulling that line up in the air like that, we pull it so that it goes back in the air, and then when it's fully extended, we just give a little flick like that and it'll fly out and go out to where the fish are. And then hopefully they'll come up and eat it. And we're in a beautiful spot to show you a bit of this today. It's fantastic. Tassie, beautiful clear water, lovely trees, and hopefully a few trout. So we're going to try our little fly fishing, lift that heavy line up, throw the light weight, let it float down, maybe a fish will come and eat it.
Bushman, what do you reckon?
Well, if we can't catch one here, Rexy, we'll have to give up.
Well, if we don't catch one, folks, Ken Orr's his name, guiding's his game, and if he doesn't get us a fish, he'll be on the Kendall aircraft back to Melbourne as quick as you can say Jack Robinson for those snapper. But folks, we hope you're enjoying the show.
Yes! Yes. Oh, he's a goer too. He's still on there. Still
Go on off
there.
you go.
The two-step. He's still there, boys. Woo!
Oh, man, I tell you what. Bushy, didn't he slam that?
Hey? And the jumps, I tell you what, he's a feisty little fish.
Fly fishing's not difficult. For so many years when I was a kid, I was even scared to read a fly fishing book. But now, you know, you actually caught some mullet the other day on a fly. It's a growing part of the sport. Now this is a beautiful little rainbow. Now folks, 130 years ago, the brown and rainbow trout arrived in Tasmania, and he's gone. And now, many, many streams like this in the island of Tasmania are natural breeding streams. That is, the inland fisheries don't put artificially reared trout into these streams. Sure, they complement a few areas like the Great Lake and other sort of impoundments with a few every now and again, but he's born and he's still living in this marvellous stream here, Bushy.
No, well, they've certainly got acclimatised with a bang, Rex, once they did bring them over, but there's perfect conditions for them. Beautiful gravel so they can breed. Lovely water. It's probably a lot more or less polluted than it is in their native countries now. Just tell you what,
Not much pollution down here, folks. I feel like the solo man. I probably don't look like him, so don't go writing in. Let's get serious here. They close these streams so the fish can propagate. In Victoria, for nearly 30 years, they allowed the open slather. This year has been the first of the new closures. You've got to look after spawning fish.
look, I think Victoria's going to reap the benefits of that in the next few years, Rex. The fish can breed in peace, and there's going to be just some marvellous fishing down there. We won't have to travel too far afield to have a bit of fun on the weekend.
A whipbird. Did you hear it? And a spiny-eared, barrel-chested bed thumper.
Is that right?
Folks, as Richard Attenborough would say, it's been a long time since I've seen one of those. There he is up there.
It's koala bear.
Oh, it is too. Let's go fishing. You idiot, Rex. Folks, Peer Gynt, eat your heart out. La da 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 da. The dance of the sugar plum fairy? No, it's the dance of the snowflake caddis. And these marvellous little insects start their life cycle right here in the river as a tiny nymph that builds a cocoon for itself, and when the conditions are right, they float to the surface and fly away. Then these marvellous little creatures go into a mating ritual. They'll prance around, the boys just sort of flexing their muscles, and the girls will start to mill around looking for a bit of the action. Talking about action, this is the type of thing that sets the trout alight. I think we're going to be in for a bit of action. This is magnificent. Hey, phew, go out here. Look, beautiful. Didn't quite get out there. Well, folks, just while Bushy's taking a bite to eat, I thought I'd just cover another aspect of the sport which is very popular. There's a few aspersions placed on spin fishermen, and I don't like it very much because they think it's just a matter of throwing out a bit of metal and the fish committing suicide. It can be a very, very good way to catch fish, but you also got to understand that if the fish are on the spinners, you can catch them one after the other, so it does pay to give them a peck on the cheek and throw them back. A balanced outfit is the absolute essence in any type of fishing, and spin fishing is no difference. The reel must not overbalance the rod. The rod must be able to throw a small lure like this little Rapala Vibrax almost across the other side of the river. And I'm in about knee-deep water. And a lot of people ask me before they ban frogs in Victoria, Rex, how far would you wade into the Goulburn River when you're fishing with frogs? I used to say, oh, about knee-deep. That's the worst joke I've ever said on international television, folks, but at least I'm trying to be funny. Quite seriously, though, in the shallows here, if you've got a deep diving lure like this little Rapala I've got here on my lamb's wool holder there, you'll find that the bib will dig that particular lure down to the bottom and you'll get snagged. So in the shallower places of this Mersey River, I use the little Vibrax with a revolving blade, and you get a far better sight for your hard-earned cast. So, folks, hope the fish have read the script, because I'm ready, and you are too. Yes! How about that? You can't do any better than that, folks. And that well-known frogman that works for our program didn't get a chance to go down and put this little rainbow on the end of this Vibrax. You can see quite clearly there that these can be dynamite. Now, all the next stage in fishing is, up to fly fishing, is to substitute the metal and the casting gear with your unweighted fly line and substitute the metal lure for fur and feather. So, mate, thanks very much for reading the script. Whoop, I wanted to give you a kiss. I'll blow him one. How about that, folks? I tell you what, whether it's 1,000 pound or half a pound, the old bearded burbler, he's in his element.
Rex. Gone fishing. Kiss it up, throwing 'em back.
G'day, folks, and thanks for joining us. Today I'm at beautiful Mallacoota near the border of New South Wales and Victoria in what they call Victoria's East Gippsland region. Now, I haven't been here for nearly 20 years, and when I drove in, people waving, how you going, Rex? It gave me a good feeling. And most of them were kids and families. And that's what I'm here for, folks, to check out the scene. And what better place to do it than the local tackle store. How you going, Wayne?
G'day, Rex. Good to see you.
Tell you what, after all these years, it's great to be back. Wayne Granger, folks, and his wife Karen are the proprietors of Mallacoota Bait and Tackle. Local information's what it's about, and what do you got for us? You sounded enthusiastic on the phone.
Well, Rex, you said to me you wanted to get some bread and butter fish. I know we've got some terrific whiting and ludwig around the place, and there's even a few mullet for you. That's the sort of stuff you're looking for. It's all there for you.
Sounds a little bit good. The accommodation looks all right. I'll unload and see you in the ramp in half an hour.
I'll be there. Be waiting.
Thank you very much. Folks, the sign says it all. This is Victoria's best kept secret. Mallacoota Inlet has a top and bottom lake. They are fed by about 14 streams, including the Wallagara and Genoa rivers. The traditional family holiday is the common thread that runs right through this area. Families looking for that special spot in Australia where everything is taken care of need not look any further. Mallacoota has it all. The cost of accommodation reflects the family budget. Guest houses, motels, and of course the famous caravan park right on the water are what Mallacoota is all about. This town has some special memories for me, and I guess for thousands of other Australians as well. Well, folks, it's amazing. I used to play football in front of crowds less than this that I've got here. Now, this is a fantastic holiday place. I came here about 18 years ago with my kids, and I can tell you now, there's a lot of people who bring their kids down who actually came with their parents. Now, this is juvenile city in relation to fish is concerned. Now, this is a juvenile King George whiting. He's got plenty of slime on him, and this fish has come in from the ocean. They don't breed in here, they breed somewhere out in Bass Strait. And these fish are the fish of tomorrow. And that's what this place is all about, folks. As sure as I've got a landing strip on top of my cranium, kids and the future, that's what Australia's all about, isn't it, kids? And you know why, folks? Because I like kids. I used to go to school with them. Thank you very much. Well, folks, a little bit of slip, slop, slap. And even though the sun's out and you've got to put it on, you've got to be aware that... Wayne, I don't know what that was. There's something took that.
Oh, I reckon good chance it could be a whiting, Rex.
I don't know. Well, you must have known. A King George whiting. Not quite 27 centimetres, which is the legal limit. But this is about as far east as they come. They start in Western Australia, and this is about as far east as I say that the schools do come during the summer months. So he's nice and slimy, he's in from the ocean. Long shank hook makes it easy to get rid of him, and that's what it's all about. Is this better than being in the tackle store?
I tell you what, Rex, I wouldn't swap this for all the tea in China.
These fish are starting to move now on that bit of burley, mate. I might give them another bit.
I tell you what, Rex, I reckon that's the key.
Yeah. Just a little bit of burley in that tide.
You've convinced...
And there's a bite on that rod there.
You've convinced me something.
Oh, I tell you what, I missed him. Now, one of the big problems I've found with family fishing is that when they go fishing, they don't understand the fish that they're after. Now, when people first see a little nibble on the end of the tip, they go and try and reef the line to hook the fish. It doesn't work that way. The fish is nibbling, and in the case of these magnificent junior King George whiting, they feed in a sucking action. They actually inhale the bait rather than elongate their jaw like a big snapper or a tuna and go bang, thank your mother for the worm. So it pays to understand that the fish you're going after small type fish. If you catch small fish and you understand their feeding habits and how to catch them, when that big one comes along on the continental shelf or in the Murray River or a mighty barramundi goes bang, you're going to be ready for him. See you later, mate. How you going there, Wayne?
I think I've got one right now, Rex, as we talk. Yep. Geez, they've come on nicely, haven't they?
They have. Now keep it quiet. I don't want that bloke in the 455 from Merimbula to Melbourne to see you catching this fish. Oh, good on you. King George
Nice
whiting.
little whiting.
Just nice, just under size. Put them back, but good practice for the kids, eh?
Sure is, and I think the important thing is, Rex, when the people come up here, that we get great delight out of selling the kids the right equipment to go out and catch these things. Most of the time they come out with gear that's probably a little bit too overgunned.
Yeah,
and,
look, I think one of the major problems is, you know, kids' toys that some people sell for Christmas, you know what I mean? A fishing rod is for life, not just for Christmas, you know what I mean?
That's right, and I suppose that one of the best ways of making sure a kid enjoys it is to give him good gear that he's not going to have problems with. He can get on with the fun of catching the fish.
Yeah. See this little master estuary of mine? I tell you what, I've got a 10-foot rod here, folks, and majority of you wouldn't use it because you'd feel so uncomfortable. But this is just 2.1 metres in the new scale. It's got a nibble tip, it's got a very, very soft action, and it suits the type of fish that we're after. Now, this mullet is a very, very good example of what it's all about.
He's a beauty.
He is a beauty. Something for the kids to catch. If you want to keep it, that's fine. There's no regulation size for yellow eye mullet in Victoria. And the main reason they did that was so we could use the juveniles for live bait for flathead.
Oh, gee, I got something here too, Rex.
Well, you better bring it in, folks, because we can't tell you the punchline unless we're on about midnight, I tell you what.
Oh, well,
It's disgraceful.
it's another Elvis Presley.
Elvis Presley fish. Well, there you are, folks, a 6-spine leather jacket in this aquarium, in this piscatorial wonderland. I tell you what, that hook should come out there like that. I'll give him a bit of a kiss on the cheek. And I think he kissed me back, folks.
Wahoo!
There's a cat on the road, I think it was a tabby. Didn't stop me going up for a bass yabby. Exercise this. Oh, there he is. Well, folks, I tell you what, some of you might jog, some of you might walk, some of you get on a bike or have a swim. If you want to know what a bit of exercise is about, you want to go bass yabby pumping down here in East Gippsland. It's very hard work, but it's very, very satisfying, because in this particular area of the Betka River, there's some fish that right at this moment don't know there's a plan against them. And the plan, fresh bass yabbies into their home, and hopefully we'll have a bit of fishing action for you, folks. Oh, this is great. And this particular spot I've got here is an ideal location because it's close to the bridge of the Betka River. And you don't have to walk far, and Mum and Dad and the kids can have a good time actually catching bait, which is a lot of fun. And to find if they're home, you have to really do some serious work. Aha, here we go. Now that's a telltale sign. Look, they're moving in there. 1 bass yabby, 2 bass yabbies, 3, 4, and that's it. And what I do, kids, is I have a look around, because they're like fish. Where there's 1 bass yabby, there'll be others. And if you find a mound where Grandpa is home, sure as God made little bass yabbies, Mama and Papa and the kids are around as well. I reckon we might hit the jackpot today, folks, because this is fantastic. Whew. Half a centurion hunt. I think he needs a bit more exercise. Here we go. Come around on it. He's coming back at it now. He's coming back. Look at the tip, look at the tip. I tell you what, folks, this is just fantastic. This should be a little ludric. Now, a lot of you people who catch blackfish on the eastern seaboard of Australia, and they run from Queensland right through to Lakes Entrance in southern Victoria, would recognise that these are called blackfish, or ludric or ludric, whichever school you went to. As against a fish we have in Victoria, which is called a zebrafish, which has 9 vertical stripes, these have 13. And a lot of you black fishermen out there would recognise that this is a sandy coloured one. Where they intermingle with the weed and the pylons, they take on that dark appearance in relation to their camouflage. But here in the sandy shores of this beautiful estuarine system called the Betka River at Mallacoota, they take on this appearance because they're in the sand. Now he's a lovely fish. He took a bash yabby. We'll give him a kiss and we'll let him fight another day. Sorry about the lens there, but here we go, and away he goes. This is Rex Hunt Fishing Adventures. I'm having a ball. I hope you are too. I use long shank hooks because I like to lay the yabby along the hook like that, coming off a snood from a number 8 swivel, down to a little ball sinker or a little helmet sinker, down to the bottom snood. You've got the extended paternoster rig. And all the best to Bert Paternoster, although I thought he passed on last year at Lake's Entrance. If his family's watching, he's a great man. He was the one who invented the Bert Paternoster rig, and we've used it for about 7 years on this show. Pretty interesting, eh? Got a bit of a problem there, folks. Kindergarten playtime. The old piscatorial school is around. What I'm going to try and do is keep them busy, the little blokes that is, and try fishing out of what I call the action zones, and that's where all the little fish come around the burley pot. And then outside, oh, got him. Outside that zone, there could be some bigger fish, and this feels like a bigger... Oh, no. Folks, exclusive to the East Gippsland area is this leather jacket. Now, it's an Elvis Presley fish, but this is quite unique because his mouth is in the middle of his guts. Now, what happens is, you can see quite clearly there, he's gone up and he's fed on the bash yabby. Now, his mouth is just under that particular area there. And if you believe that, you're as crazy as I am. Thank you very much.
Rex. Come fishing. Kiss it up. Go on and back.
Welcome to Bridgewater-on-Loddon. A one-horse town maybe, but the folks of this country hamlet are enjoying a veritable angling feast. With the alarm clock still ringing in my ears, let's explore the Loddon River together.
Well, folks, I tell you what, one of the great advantages of this job of mine in Australia and, in fact, right around the globe is my office. And I tell you what, there's nothing better than Australia just after the sun comes up, the galahs, the sheep, the smell of the bush. I'm talking about galahs. I got one with me today, folks. Adam Reuter, say good day to the folks.
Howdy. Love you too, Rex.
He is a nightmare, this bloke. You reckon I'm a tadpole short of a swamp, folks? He's an antenna short of a cockroach, I can tell you now. He's from the Complete Angler range of stores that Jimmy Allen runs here in Australia. But the bottom line is, kid, you love fishing.
That's the idea.
Now, can you convey down that lens what you said to me on the way up here, what you'd like to do by the time you're 35?
By the time I'm 35, I'm going to be standing in that bloke's shoes.
I tell you what, I hope they're not cement, folks. If that ain't confidence, I'm not bald. Adam Reuter and Rex Hunt. This show, folks, will be interesting. Stick around. You know, folks, using the state-of-the-art fishing gear is what the enjoyment of the complete experience of angling is all about. These snags are the home of yellow belly, Murray cod and redfin. Now, if I was to just cast out there normally like I would for trout and just sort of wind in like that, I'm not in the strike zone long enough, particularly in some discoloured water, for the fish to have a real good look at the lure.
Do you want a tip from a pro, old boy?
Yes, young man.
That's it. When you cast your lure out, just get it out there. Go about half a dozen turns to get it down to its swimming depth, and then stop. And then jig the rod tip.
Jig.
Jig, yes. So, jig.
I'll try it. No worries. Here we go.
So, it's New Zealand for jig.
Here we go.
That's it.
I got it. Is that it?
You're getting the swing of it now, old boy.
You idiot. Look at the action.
Hey?
The action of it. Unreal, isn't it?
Oh, these lures are nuts.
Oh, I got wham just right there, Adam. Right there. Oh, gee whiz. Now, he's taken me under a snag. I've got this little electric. It's nice and quiet. Our fish has come out of the snag there now. I tell you what, he whammed that as if there was no tomorrow.
They give you a good thumping.
They do give you a good thumping.
No
I tell you
dramas.
what.
Look out. Oh,
Wacko.
action stations.
I tell you what.
Oh, God.
Adam, I'm a bit disappointed in you.
Why is that, mate?
Have you got a bigger net?
Well, I tried, but now it is.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, he's a
Look at
lovely
this.
big fish.
Oh, dear me.
Mate, bigger net.
I feel
you
like-
weren't wrong.
What an absolute beauty. I tell you what. Now, he's just hooked at him,
Yeah,
and we're
he's
going to be
just-
very, very lucky to get him, I tell you now. But what a beautiful cod.
Just need to swing him over the top of the net.
Coming here now. Look at that, he's home.
Look at that.
Well, isn't that fantastic?
What a lovely big fish.
Beautiful big fish. Tell us a bit about the Murray cod of the Loddon River in central Victoria.
Well, he's a stocked beast, thankfully, for our Victorian fisheries.
Yeah.
There were already a population in here, of course, but
Yes.
just get rid of that hook out of there. But the fisheries have been kind enough to stock both your yellow belly and your cod in here, which is good for us fish folk. But thankfully, this place doesn't see that much pressure, and I suppose that's why this bloke's as big as he is.
I've got
But this is probably one of the biggest cod I've seen.
Johnny Ellis's stump jumper. I tell you what, for a Murray cod lure, there's none better.
Look how
Adam,
big he is.
that is a serious fish, isn't
Mate,
it?
that is a dead set serious fish. I don't know how much he'll weigh. He's a monster, though.
Well, I just
Take
happen to have
two
a
loads.
lie detector here, mate. So if I can get him by the jaw, I tell you what, the teeth
Yeah, you
are
wanna watch
serious
those.
teeth.
They are nasty
Aren't they?
pieces of work.
He is a serious fish. Now, open up your mouth, mate. I bet you it's a big bardy grub or something,
Oh, he'd have a few good
He'd,
carp in his guts, I reckon.
for sure.
Yeah. 7.7 kilos.
7.7 kilos
about-
is about 17 pounds.
Yeah, in the old scale. That's good.
Well, I tell you what, folks, this is a... We'll be right, folks. These are very hardy fish, aren't they?
They are,
Let's
yeah.
explain. A lot of folks sort of worry about whether these fish live, you know, when you release them. But these are hardy fish. These are Australian fish. And what we've done, we've nearly wiped them out. The introduction of European carp, man's constant need to improvise and to extend his horizons have taken some of the true habitat out of these magnificent areas. Now, what we're going to do is release him. But this is a great win for the Victorian fisheries, I tell you what.
Huge win for him. Look at
Now
that.
look at the roof over the tool shed there, mate. I tell you what, a beautiful Murray cod
from the Loddon River here in central Victoria. Come on, mate, I'll give you a bit of a tickle on the tummy. And look at that.
There he is, he's out of it.
And those people watching right around the globe. The Murray cod is a symbol of Australia, what we believe is a very special country.
Wahoo!